There's a Charlie Craven pattern called the Screaming Banshee. It's caddis pattern. I was looking at it one day and I was like, bet you I could use some of those techniques for a spinner pattern. So that's why I just came up with a simple one. Green Drake spinner. It's one piece of deer hair. So I'm going to tie it here right now. I use a Daiichi 1280. You can use a 10. This one's an 8. Green Drake spinner is pretty big, so 6.0 uni black. I'm going to use 8.0 on trout flies like this, but that deer hair on a Green Drake spinner, you need a lot of deer hair. So to crank down on it, you're better off just not taking any chances and use 6.0. Right before the bend, you can stop. Tail. This is moose. These are like 2.5 inches long. That's about as long as you want to get a patch of moose for tail. Any longer than that, it's just the tips that get long. And you really can't use 3-inch long tips. That's not going to do you any good. I just take off a clump and I put them in a tube like this. I don't usually deal with a big piece of skin. See how fine those tips are? You can't use just tips. It won't really have the bulk that you want. To make these last longer, you just spread them in your fingers like this. Take some UV. Small drop. And then just small drop on your fingers. Run it through there. Take your light. Hit it with the light. Usually, I don't know if you notice this, but when you use UV, it ends up, it takes like the natural curve and like, exaggerates it. That's pretty good because we want the curve like that. And we also want them lined up. Yeah, I think that's good. Get them on top. 1, 2, and then go underneath. And then go on top again. And then if you want, you can just put a turn through here, and then a turn onto the hook, and then a turn through here, and then a turn onto the hook. You can rip those off. You don't need to go all the way up with them. So dubbing, it's dub body. So I just use a mixture of just some white rabbit. This one's a hairline. And then I use some beaver. This is more like a tight dubbing. The rabbit is like a hairy dubbing. I just mix them up. If I see any guard hairs, I take them out. I'm not tearing it. I'm just kind of spreading it apart and flipping it over. Then I lengthen it a little bit. I'm using black thread really for the thorax, but I don't actually mind it if a little bit comes through on the body because the Green Drake spinner is not like pure white. It has like black and gray spots on it. deer hair, just using like a natural body hair. You know, there's those super bleached pure white ones that you can use too. This is more like a very light tan or like a bone white or something like that. You need some with some good length. See that? You're not going to be able to use ones that are, you know, 1 inch long, because it's one piece. Take a stacker, throw them in there. I saw a broken one, I did. Alright, so a shank maybe, or between a shank and a hook. And then you really got to crank down on this, because you know the amount of deer hair you need to make 2 wings for a spinner, a green drake spinner, it's a lot. So you got a big clump. Some broke, but it should be okay. So you get a bunch of turns in there, then go in front, put some turns right in the crevice. That's going to help lock it in. Then we bring all these forward, and we take 1 turn and we kind of just, see that? That's going to keep them forward so that you can work with these butts. So let's see here. Yeah, they rolled on me a little bit, but not that much. So obviously we're not gonna use this much for the case. Honestly, we're not going to really even use 80% of this. So from this side, you want to get in and just start cutting, and you want to cut as close to the threads as possible. Any on the sides you don't want. And then grab them and see if you got any short ones, real short ones. We don't want those either. Now take this turn off and bring it back, and all those little cut ends, make sure they're close. But turn the thread right into those cut ends. That's all right. And another little trick is take these butt ends up, take 1 turn right in there. That's going to flare them, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you to grab them when you need them. Rabbit, black. We're going to cover up those cuts. We're going to create a thorax. It'll help make some legs. We don't want to use that much, because the bigger this thing is, the more it's going to take to cover it. And we're going to lift up this, put some more turns in here. into the eye, make sure nothing's going forward. So that's good. Alright, so the wing, just press it with your nail, that's going to flare it, then find the center. Give it a little crease. You can also put a drop of UV in the center there, like a very, very tiny drop. If you feel like it's not spreading for you and staying spread. But this seems okay. I think that's alright. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's going to be all right. And then we take the butts now. We hold them up, and then we make sure these wings are out of the way. You really don't want to trap in any of these. So if you fold them down, kind of came undone on me over here. Yeah, that's good. And then fold them down and then bring this over. If you drop one or two in, it's not a big deal, or if you forget one of the fibers for the case, it's not a big deal. You can always chop it off later. So make sure these are out of the way. Really make sure this is forward and down. And then give it some turns here to hold it. It seems all right. One I didn't like. And this one I missed. We'll clip those later. Alright, so this is good. So we're really going to crank down on this. It'll flare. Pick them up. Bring the thread to the front. Whip finish. Hold these back. Then, before you bring the wing forward, don't bring the wing forward just yet. Get these butts. I use a curved pair of scissors and then I cut it fairly close, like an elk hair caddis. And we bring the wings forward. You see if there's any. Alright, so there it is. And if you want, you can bring out this rabbit. You fold them down. If you really hit this hard, you might lose one of the deer hair. One of the deer hairs in your wing, but it's not a big deal. If you do, I haven't lost any, which is fortunate. That's it. Let's get this tail looking good. Much better. Here it is. Green Drake spinner. Spinning Banshee. That's what I refer to it as. Alright, thanks.